When you hear the word feedback, criticism, what's your first reaction? Are you bracing yourself? Are you getting angry? Are you getting curious and wondering what's there? Have you ever stopped to think about why are you reacting the way you're reacting? When we grew up, we were dependent on our family for survival, for our friends for a sense of belonging and a sense of community. And so we learned how to behave in ways that would gain approval, gain a sense of belonging. Over time, our skills evolved and developed. We developed the means to care for ourselves, to be independent. And yet our method of interacting with people often never changes. We're like the elephant that as a baby was tied to a stake and still thinks as a full-grown elephant that it can't move beyond where it is now. So how can we get past this? How can we stop associating our sense of self-worth with what other people think of us? There's a quote, "If you live by compliments, you'll die by criticism." In the book Crucial Conversations, which I highly recommend, by the way, they recommend some steps for changing how we react to feedback so that we can absorb it more effectively. So the first step is to ground ourselves. Get into physical sensation. Notice your feet on the floor. Notice the weight of your body where it touches the chair. Another thing that can help to lower the stress response is to do the 3 breath technique. So let's do that together now. Take a nice deep inhale, a slow exhale. Pause, a deep inhale, and a slow exhale. Pause, deep inhale, and a slow exhale. Notice how you feel now. Do you feel any different? This technique is used by emergency room doctors because when our exhale is longer than our inhale, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of the fight or flight stress response. So this is a great way to ground yourself when you're receiving feedback that's taking you by surprise. The second step is to focus on understanding. Get curious. Think about if this was being given to someone else, what would you think of it? What would you need to understand the feedback? You may also want to ask yourself, why would a decent, rational, and respectful individual say the things that they are saying? Give the person the benefit of the doubt. The third step is to take some time to recover. We may be triggered. We may, despite using all these grounding techniques, not be ready to examine the feedback effectively in the moment. So just simply say, I really value what you had to say. I want to take some time to consider it. I'm going to step away and get back to you on this. Then do step 4, which is to really examine the feedback. The feedback could be 100% true. The feedback could be 100% false. Usually it's some combination of the two. Sift through it. Sift out the sand and find the gold. What will help you to grow, to expand your learning, to view life in a different, more supportive way? And then finally, if appropriate, circle back to the individual, share what you heard and what steps you're going to be taking. And you may even want to thank the person for giving you that little piece of gold. If you are a person giving feedback, there are things that you can do to help the person receive that feedback more effectively. First, do what you can to create psychological safety. Read the room. If the person that you're talking to is upset to begin with, if the person is distracted, they're working on something else, they're not in a position to receive feedback effectively. So think about what circumstances would be more effective for providing this feedback. Where have you had useful conversations with this person in the past? What time of day? If you have to give feedback in the moment because there's an urgent situation, how can you phrase it as, hey, I know things are really rough right now, but I really need to share this with you, and then go ahead. If you're a manager, you may want to provide the feedback in writing first and ask for a meeting to discuss it. This gives the person an opportunity to absorb it, to go through the steps of recovering and absorbing and figuring out what they need to better understand so that the dialogue will be more useful. So strive to meet feedback with humble, confident curiosity instead of anger and approval seeking. Be excited by the opportunity to polish the diamond that you are to an even brighter sheen. The more you do this, others will notice that you really listen. Your relationship will become grounded in trust and respect. And after all, isn't that all that we really want anyway?